3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. This is our bad batch.
It happens. It happens. It's Monday.
Bad batch.
Bad Batch Monday. And today we're going to be talking about episode 12, Rescue on Ryloth. So it seems we got pretty much like what we were expecting from when we were talking about the last episode, which was going to be a continuation of what was happening in Ryloth from the last episode. We jump right back into the action right after the last episode ended. And this time, at least, we get some more Bad Batch action. So what did you guys think of the episode?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was an improvement because I don't think the last episode was bad. So I don't think it needed to be improved on. It was more my problems with the previous episode were more structurally, like how the episode was kind of diverging from the structure that the rest of the season had so far. So like you said, Nani, this episode kind of went back to what we thought it was going to go back to, which was a breath of fresh air, because this is the story we want to see, right? The Bad Batch and how their actions are helping or influencing the world around them. So seeing them help Hera and her family was kind of a fun part of the episode. I did feel it was a little derivative from the previous one. We were on Raxus. It was kind of like the same thing, except with fun Hera action. And obviously, I think the highlight of the episode was Hauser's rebellion, which we can talk about more in depth later. But that was kind of my initial impression.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a good, wrap up. I'm glad Hera's mom is still alive. We didn't get to.
Yeah, we didn't kill her immediately.
We have a few more years of having. So I'm grateful for that. I love that in this episode it's the kids that are the leaders. Both Hera and Omega, which will be. It's I kind of saw it as, even though it's very derivative, because they even alluded, this is just like Raxguard, like like we've been through this, but
like we did this before.
Popper.
That story. But the fact that this time around it was to rescue Hera's parents, which gives that. I think this whole season is all about like morals and like where do you stand, and giving Hunter and like Omega like that idea of like what are you gonna do if someone asks for help? Are you gonna be a strategist, or are you gonna be just a soldier and help? What defines you? What's your moral? So seeing that the whole Bad Batch differs to them, it's like kind of like that passing on the torch to the next generation and like recognizing all of that potential. So I'm really glad we saw an episode like that, especially since this being watched by adults, kids, and probably a lot of parents are watching this with their kids. And nowadays, where everything is different, it's also a good signal to tell you, hey, kids are valid leaders. They have great ideas. There's a reason for that. So I'm glad on the turnaround, and I was really excited. And I want to talk a little bit about that clone trooper rebellion. We didn't get the stormtrooper rebellion we wanted, but maybe
it was kind of like a slap on the wrist rebellion. But it's something.
But it's something. So I like how it was just like a short arc. We got to everything runs up, and let's see, what's the next few episodes have in store for us.
What do you think, Nani?
Definitely, and to both of your points, I am really glad that it really does seem like the arc is wrapped up. Like this is probably what we're gonna get from Ryloth, because I was getting a little worried that we're at this point like 4 episodes away from the end, and I was like, are we gonna focus on Ryloth for just all the end of this? So I was a little bit worried about it. So I am glad they wrapped it up. I do love what you both were saying. I mean, it's so cool to watch how Omega just like always pushes them to be their better selves. and she is supposed to be the child. They're supposed to be adults, even though they're probably the same age,
Mhm.
but
Right.
yeah, but it's still really cool to watch. And it's always fun to watch, the seeds of somebody greater, like Hera's already showing those leadership qualities, and we know how amazing she's going to become eventually. So it's good to
Mhm.
see that some of that inspiration came from Omega, and they kind of inspired each other as well to like be better. And that was definitely cool to watch. Yeah, it was a little, not that much happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I am glad we didn't have to see Hera's mother die, but at the same time, there wasn't a lot of push of the story forward that much. At the end, it was kind of like, oh, we're leaving to regroup, and then it was very cool to watch the clone trooper rebellion, but at the same time, it's like, oh, we're just dropped our shields and give up right away.
Right.
We don't really.
There's a silent rebellion, basically. Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
we're not gonna do it.
not-
We're just gonna say that we don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-violence.
But again,
it's a way of
non-violence.
rebellion, so
I guess.
But
you
you still
succeeded,
see
man.
that it's the rebellion out of loyalty for the people that they've been defending for years, and out of using their own logic. We came here to protect and free these people, and now we're occupying them. How does that compute? So
Mhm.
I wish they could have gone into the conversation maybe about the chips and what it means. Was it not working with them? Is it less effective as Order 66 gets left behind and they get to rationalize what's been happening around them? I mean, I
Mhm.
kind of want that conversation to happen. And you do kind of see even Crosshair kind of doubting it a little bit, that you're starting to see a little bit of that like inner turmoil going on with Crosshair. So I think that Hauser and the troopers being able to lay down their arms and decide to not follow orders, you're kind of already foreshadowing maybe his redemption. Obviously, at the end, we also get the start of the hunt. So, but I think part of it's Crosshair finally decided that he needs to hunt them down. I think it stems also from maybe an insecurity of, am I doing this right or wrong? And like part of his
Right.
anger is maybe spurning him to, I need to eliminate them, because with them gone, I don't have to think about if this is right or wrong. I just follow
Right.
orders. So there were still some things happening, but I was kind of expecting a little more, to be honest. Still fun though. Bad Batch episodes are always fun. So
And
I mean, but that's interesting. Oh, are you saying? Mo?
Oh, I was gonna like kind of like tack on what Nani was saying. Like on this episode had beautiful like eye play, like the way the expressions of each like the clones were happening, and you could see like without even like saying how much they're thinking about what's happening. Every time the clones they will do like a zoom in on their faces and like the slight expressions, and you can see in Crosshairs like I'm hunting them down, but I'm still not sure if it's because I want them dead or if because I want to know what's real, what's the truth. Because now by example, he already saw a clone that challenged his whole idea, and this is a Reg. This is like a clone that's supposed to be even more in the system, more within the order
docile. Yeah.
So I love that. I don't know if it's like kudos to the like, animators and like how real it's starting to look.
Right.
We might be in the uncanny valley in a few years, who knows? But for now, it's just perfect.
Right, but I mean, to both of your points about Crosshair, I think it ties into what you were saying, Nani. I do think that they might address it because they have talked about the ships eventually, always at some point during all the Clone Wars, and obviously now with the Bad Batch. So I do think that with this rebellion, we'll probably get some of that at some point. Maybe not in this season. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a second season, but I'm sure it'll be something that will be explained. But with Crosshair specifically, I think the interesting thing that both of you are saying is that the realization is also there, but I think it might not be the payoff that we expect. And I think the payoff we expect, right, is that he's going to either deactivate his ship, or they're going to take the ship out, or he's going to be able to override it and then join the good guys. But I kind of get the feeling that he's going to stay with the Empire even after overriding the ship, because it's like one of those things that we see in real life, right? With someone that might have some abhorrent views or is doing something negative. And once you confront them about it and show them the facts or tell them how they're wrong, they double down on that behavior because it's like, no, I have to kind of go into self-defense and like I did those things or I thought those things. So now I have to like really support what I'm doing or thinking because I have to defend myself and, you know, support the things that I've done. So I think that might be what is going to happen with Crosshair. It's going to be, oh, well, I can't break free because I've already done these things. So like now I have to really like
Commit
double down on
to-
it and commit to it. Even if like I realize that the reasons why it was wrong or not. So, and I think that could be really interesting actually to not have the payoff everyone expects. As everyone expects, oh, we're gonna come back, take out the ship, and we're gonna be happy, just like with a Wrecker. We took the ship, and then everything's fine. But I think it's more poignant, right, to see like, no, sometimes people will not choose the quote unquote right path, and I think it'll be interesting to see the fallout from that. I mean, speculation, but we'll see.
I mean, and there's already precedent, like Kylo's journey pretty much mirrors that same path. Like I'm doubting if I should join the dark side, so I'm gonna double down on it because it's almost like a flawed logic. It's the sunken cost theory. Like I've already invested so much, my time, my resources, who I am into this ideal, that it almost, it's a pain. It's almost like doesn't make sense to go back and change route. But it's just flawed logic because time, whatever already went by, it's already gone. Like,
it's kind of a like you can't live with yourself if you accept that everything you were doing was actually wrong. So it's
which I think that's what Hauser's for, right? Is that counterbalance?
Exactly.
Yeah, which was good to do that, especially with, you know, a reg who was supposed to be easier manipulated by Order 66. So still good points being thrown out there. We still have 4 more episodes left, so I think there's a lot of room for a lot of these themes to be better explored. There were still some really cool moments, like when you see like Hera flying, you know, for the first time by herself with Omega. And I do want to point out that we were kind of criticizing Tech last episode because maybe he can't be a good flyer because he's unfeeling, but he actually had some pretty sweet moves in this episode. So it's like, damn, okay, Tech kind of is a badass flyer. Okay, we can give them that.
He knows the science. He knows aerodynamics and stuff.
It was also really cool to see like Hunter back in perfect form, like when he takes out that droid without like, hold on a second, I'll be right back, destroying droid. Okay, we can continue conversation now, you know. So just kind of to see him being a badass again after all the defeats. Hunter's had some nasty defeats.
he was a badass, but like I feel like he keeps kind of regressing in a sense of like trusting Omega. And it's like going back to Mo's point that the episode was trying to make through Hera and Omega is just trusting children, because children have most of the time like a lot of good intuition and good instincts and pure instincts, right, about some things, and being able to listen to them. And Hunter just keeps like ignoring them.
I know, kind of going back. Yeah, you're right.
And then reverting to the whole like, oh, I have to take care of my people and like not do what's right. And it's like, Hunter, like we've been through 11 episodes already where we've been establishing the Spider-Man mantra: with great power comes great responsibility. You cannot run away from your responsibility right now, especially when you have Omega calling you out for it. It's just like, let's stop. Like, admit it. You already, every single episode you say, no, you can't do it because you have to take care of my own. And it's like, get over it. Learn your lesson and let's move on, and let's accept that you're going to do the right thing. So that's why it gets a little frustrating sometimes. It's like, oh, now we've been over this. You know that you're going to end up doing it anyway. And that's the lesson. Just learn it. Just let's keep going. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
So, after a year, I mean, it will take some time, but hopefully Hunter will get there. I've got.
I know. I absolutely think he will. But
you know, especially with Omega. I love like how they Omega finally referred to them as, oh, they're my brothers.
Yeah.
I
thought that was interesting. Yeah.
That was I think that was key, because it does separate. It's a very distinct relationship siblings than having
Mhm.
a parent and a child
Or an uncle. Yeah.
or
yeah,
an uncle.
Yeah.
Like it
Equal footing.
equal footing. There is an apparent age difference, which probably there isn't, but according to what's being portrayed, there's that apparent age difference. But the fact that they're on equal footings, it means that Omega also recognizes her own self-worth now.
Right.
Like it's not like, oh, they're my family, they're my protectors. No, they're like I can.
They're my
also
brothers.
I have
Yeah.
to watch over them because they're also my siblings. Like, and it from I guess from experience, like it goes both ways. Like, and once you get past a certain age, it's almost like what there is no age difference. We're just on that equal footing, and we each take care of each other, or we can hate guts of each other and not talk. And unfortunately, that does happen. But
That does happen too.
that is crosshair in the relationship. Like, but it is a fact that Omega has already been past like those insecurities of like, oh, I'm just a child. I'm being protected by my uncles or my parents. No, they're just my brothers, and they can be as dumb as I am.
As dumb as yep.
Yep. Absolutely. I did think that this Ryloth arc, though, was going to be a little longer. I don't think we're done with everything. I do still think that Hauser's going to come back into play somehow, and that the Bad Batch is going to rescue those clones and maybe start doing like a little clone resistance. Because I don't know, because we do see like the quote unquote resolution, right, on Ryloth on Rebels and everything that happens there. But with this whole Hauser clone rebellion, it kind of felt like they were opening the door with it, because I think it's too sudden, right, to just be like, okay, we're done with that story. It's like, wait, so there's more clones that can like rewire their programming or break free from it. And so I maybe it's not in this season, maybe it's not in the next episode, but I do think that's a really interesting avenue that the show is hinting that it could go in. And I hope that they will rescue Hauser and those clones, and tell their story or incorporate their story to their narrative and see what happens. And maybe that's the reason why ultimately the clone program is taken down, is because the clones can just revert back if it's like the Winter Soldier. If you say the right sequence of words, you can turn down their programming.
Yeah, and that Order 66 wasn't as effective as they thought it was going to be. So, I mean, that could be one of the reasons too. And Tarkin is looking for like any reason to get rid of them because he thinks they're just too expensive and kind of wasteful. So, so if you can show that more clones are able to like revert from their programming, I think you might be right, Goose, and that is the end of the.
Because we only have program. 4 episodes left, 16, right? So.
So we will see what happens. But yeah, that I highly doubt they'll just skimp on that after.
Yeah, it's like, remember that? Forget about it.
It never happened.
It never happened. Plus, they've developed. It's almost like you can see the more details the character has, the more likely they'll be on the next episodes. And that this was a really fleshed out character, like all the details, everything. Like probably one of the coolest looking. Like
very nice haircut.
Very cool haircut.
Yep. Love the color.
Cool scars.
The color. It's just amazing. So I doubt they'll just scratch that amazing design. We'll probably see a black
series. It'll happen.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Of Hauser.
It's already being developed right now. I guarantee it.
I mean, only after 2 episodes, we already like remember this character and know his name, and we still don't know the commander's name guy who's been around since like the 2nd episode.
Oh, the Imperial dude. Whatever. Yeah. He's just some white. He's just some white guy.
Fake house.
It's a Matt Getz or whatever GOP guy.
I mean, this time they kind of gave him a little bit more like clever dialogue and stuff, and he was like a little bit more ruthless and whatever, but he's still completely forgettable.
It was like almost like a mirror, like Agent Callus from the beginning of Rebels.
I mean, but Agent Callus was always
I
cool.
mean, no,
He had the mutton chops. I mean,
no. Agent Callus and whoever this guy is, like,
right, exactly.
Yeah. So he was
But
like more
speaking-
ruthless, but like super short-sighted, by the way. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
he's a poor dollar store Tarkin,
some
basically.
lackey. Yeah.
But I do want to see your guys' opinion on this, because I know there's been like a lot of discourse on the Twitterverse, right, about on whitewashing the Bad Batch, and I don't know if, at least for me, like this last episode, I felt that all the clones and and specifically the Bad Batch felt like their skin complexion looked a little darker as of late, and I don't know if that's just like me, like trying, like seeing things, or if that's something you guys might have picked up, because I know that's a narrative that's going online, and I don't know if maybe like the friendly people at Lucasfilm are tweaking some of the things behind the scenes. Yeah.
Well, I vaguely remember reading something from some source that I don't know how faithful
Accurate.
it is, but that apparently after the third episode they were gonna start tweaking the lighting.
Really? Oh.
So, and what I did notice is that everything was like darker, especially on like the middle episodes, and now this episode it looks more natural lighting around them. So there might be something to it. They do look more natural in a way, if, like more human. I don't know if that's might be like part of why they were like focusing so much on like faces and expression and like really showing like, oh look, this is like their difference, this is how they're supposed to look like or whatnot. But you know, if it happens, kudos to the fans for pushing a whole franchise to
right
in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
right.
Get back into your fucking job.
Yeah. I have noticed that they have become more expressive and human looking, but I would have to rewatch now with that in mind to see if I think they have actually darkened the complexion and stuff. I don't think they were that bad to begin with, honestly. Maybe that's just me, but
yeah, like I understand the narrative of the on what's the Bad Batch discourse. I mean 100% get it, and I agree with the theory behind it, but with what's happening like on screen, I'm not so sure that I 100% agree that that's what Lucasfilm is actively doing. I don't think they're whitewashing the characters necessarily. I don't agree that like they're westernizing the more important characters to make them look more white, because I don't like the Echo thing. A lot of people are like, oh, see, they made Echo white. It's like they made Echo white to make him look sickly, not to empower him. Echo's not being empowered by his complexion right now. So he's supposed to look ghostly because he was experimented on, and people are saying that's not how melanin works. And it's like, well, that's not how space works either. But like this,
because he's like
it's
part
conveying
machine now.
Exactly, it's conveying that he's.
I mean,
like
look at Vader. That was just an egg shell. Like,
right.
So.
Because he was under a helmet for the rest of his life, so he couldn't get any sun. You know, so. Yeah.
Maybe that was. Now I feel sad for Vader. Maybe Vader had like vitamin D deficiency, and that's it.
He probably did. He probably did have vitamin.
Yeah.
You think they would do like space vitamin D or something and just?
Oh well, he did have that weird chamber. Maybe
that machine that he would like recharge in. Yeah.
The meditation chamber.
Maybe just through like vitamin D, space vitamin D.
True. Maybe, and like it should have had like a tanning bed integrated into it, so you know at least a little.
It doesn't look so sickly.
Exactly. But I don't know. I mean, I obviously don't want to like silence or discredit voices that are trying to establish some things that might be done better in terms of like representation, because everyone listening to us knows we're very into representation and like doing representation correctly. But I don't know, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, what are the fights that we are actually need to fight and which
Yeah.
ones are kind of like, is this one really the one we should focus on, or is this the other one? That's just my, that's all I'm saying.
2 cents.
Just 2
cents.
cents.
Yeah.
Other times I'll put 4 cents, but this time it's just 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, if it was intentional, then at least we're seeing that they're listening to fans and actively engaging with
and
them.
trying to correct. Yeah.
And then if not, at worst, it's just our bias. You know, we were talking about, oh, they're too white, and then all of a sudden these are darker episodes, and oh, they look. So
right, and then
I'm
right.
biased into thinking like, oh, they did the change, but they really didn't. But who knows? Maybe they'll do it behind the scenes someday, and they'll talk about it.
Like, I think it's a bigger deal that D. Bradley Baker's like voicing them, and I'm not saying he's like a bad voice actor. He's a great voice actor. I love his work that he's done throughout the Clone Wars and Rebels, and now with Bad Batch. But I think that's kind of a bit more of a thing to kind of point at, which is like, well, you have a white guy doing the voice of New Zealanders, right? With Omega, they corrected it, right? Because they have actors from New Zealand doing the voice of Omega. But I mean, I'm not saying let's fire D. Bradley Baker and let's cancel him. I'm saying that I think that's a bit more like the behind the scenes things of like who they're choosing to represent what character. But
yeah, absolutely.
That's a separate conversation, though. Yeah. That one's for a full episode, perhaps.
That's a full episode conversation. What is diversity, and what's important?
What are the do's and don'ts about it, and what should be improved upon, and yeah.
So, but you know, everybody again, like if you love it, then great. If you hate it, then you don't have to watch it.
And you can also love something and be critical of it. That's also an important thing to note, and that doesn't mean that it diminishes your appreciation. It only means that you want to improve, and and the other way around. If you hate it, you can also be constructive with it and not have to be 100% negative about anything. So it's not, we don't have to pull these extremes of either hating and being blind rage or just loving and just ignoring flaws. The truth is in the middle, like the Bendu. Yeah.
Like the Bendu. Love the Bendu.
Everything flows towards the way in the middle.
Well, anyway, I think that might have covered the episode. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to it.
I believe not.
Yeah. I believe not.
Well,
looking forward. Yeah, looking forward to how this Crosshair hunting the Bad Batch is gonna go.
About time.
I know. It is kind of sad it took till like the last 4 episodes for the active hunt to begin, when they were kind of considered like the biggest threat, like the Bad Batch at the beginning. So it took a while, but we're getting there. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's going to be another season of This Is All We're Going to get, but it's, it's 4 more episodes of Star Wars awesomeness. So let's wait to see what we get. We are Triad of the Force. You can find us on Twitter, on YouTube, anywhere podcasts can be found. Just search Triad of the Force. Comment, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know what you think. I mean, you might hate us, you might like us, but if you don't comment, we won't know. So exactly. I think with that,
we still love you all.
Yeah, we love you all. And with that, until the next time, may the Force be with you.